So we've gotten here, through a number of years, and we have one more person that used to join us regularly, who is the executive director via our agreement with New Haven. That would be the CEO, and that's Will Ginsberg. So Will, could you come up here? So just a few words with respect to Will, who I've known and I've had the privilege of serving with when I was on New Haven's board for a number of years. And they only give you one 7-year term there, and then they kick you off, which is probably good, I suppose. But we're deeply appreciative, Will, of everything you've done for the Valley community. And all of you should recognize that VCF exists today due to your vision and your commitment from the time, the 2000 period, to try to help us build a permanent resource. So since inception, our foundations have shared a dynamic relationship with each other, and your presence and your influence and your guidance, both as president and CEO of the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, TCF, and as a member of our board over the last few years, has really enabled us to make great strides in our 14-year history. But our courtship goes back 25 years, because back in '93 is when we set up this Valley Advisory Committee. And there are a number of people in our audience who are either members of the Valley Advisory Committee or our prior boards, and I'd just like them to stand for a moment, and I'd like to give them a hand for all the health and wealth they've given us. So Will, as you know, a most significant reason for our growth and continued success is our affiliation with TCF. And we're partners in philanthropy. And that's something that's real, it's not feigned, okay? But TCF has provided us with all of this back office expertise. And the level of commitment of TCF over these years has been at the level of $200,000 to $300,000 per year in the back office that they service us with. And that has really helped us grow, and it's helped them, obviously, in their own community, because they've now exceeded $600 million in assets. So, kudos. So, Will, we're going to miss you. We're thrilled that Angela Powers, former CEO of our organization and our first CEO, a woman with deep knowledge of our community, is going to be in your stead. And we're confident that she'll be able to guide us to a stronger future. But again, we're going to miss you. All right? And the staff.
I'm right here.
It's okay. Only for a short time, Will. The meaningful impact that we've received through this relationship is extremely important. And I have a token here. So we want to give you something, and that's why you're here. Okay? So this is a token, again, of our gratitude. It's a little large because he can put it at his desired location. Thank you very much. Okay? Stay right there for a second, okay? A bird bath, just what we all need. But the most important thing is actually a number of us have been working very diligently over these last few months trying to energize for our 20-town community, including our Valley community of 5 towns, a future that is solid and it's bright. And I'm going to let Will talk a little bit about the affiliation agreement that we've just reached with New Haven, signed off by our CEOs. Sharon, thank you so much. Will, thank you so much. And Jimmy Ryan, who's chair of New Haven, couldn't be here because, among other things, Finn, his grandson, is 1 today. So he sends his best. But in any event, we're talking about touting a 10-year arrangement with the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, which exceeds our typical 7-year arrangement, with 1-year add-ons, which will make it, to the extent that it works, a forever agreement, in which we will continue to get significant funding from New Haven, significant back office services, all for the benefit of the Valley. And again, Will, we thank you for all of your diligence in that. And without further ado, Will Ginsberg, CEO of the Community Foundation. Greg McCabe.
Well, good evening. Good evening. And thank you to my friend Alan Tima. And it's so nice to be with all of you yet again to celebrate the Valley and the Valley Community Foundation, and to celebrate those here in this community who give of themselves, who give of their resources to make the Valley stronger. Since I left the board of VCF, as Alan said, Alan made it sound like I had passed away, actually, but actually, I've only left the board of VCF. But I do miss seeing so many people of this community who are here in this room, and it's a pleasure to be with you. This celebration tonight is about the community spirit of the Valley and those who bring that spirit to life every day in what they do and in what they give and in how they support this community. And that, of course, is all of you. So tonight we celebrate you with a special shout out to the grantees and the donors that we'll hear about in a few minutes. You honor me with the opportunity to offer a few words tonight, and I do so on behalf of the people I am proud to call my colleagues, the staff and board members of the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, past and present. Two of our present board members are here, Greg Pepe and Joe Gordon at this table over here, and at least two of our past board members are here, Jamie Cohen and Alan Tima. Am I missing anybody?
Mary Pepe.
Oh, and Mary, of course, Mary Pepe. Thank you. Mary, former chair, actually in the pre-Ginsberg era, but dear friend and former chair of our board. As I said, I'm up here tonight on behalf of them, board members and staff, present and past, who along with me have believed in the Valley, believed in the Valley's future, and seen the Valley as a proud, strong, and unique community deeply committed to forging its own way forward. We are very proud to be your partner in philanthropy, and I'm very pleased to say, as Alan just referenced, that we will remain so. And so that brings me to what makes this year's VCF annual gathering even more special than those in prior years. Tonight we celebrate a major step forward, which is a new and even stronger affiliation agreement between our two foundations. This past Friday, 4 days ago, Sharon Closius, my colleague and friend, and I executed a new 10-year affiliation agreement that will carry forward our work together and our mutual commitment to the Valley for another decade. This new agreement builds on all that we have accomplished together in the last 14 years. It not only continues, but also strengthens our relationship. And after more than a year of discussions and negotiation, the boards of both VCF and TCF each approved it last week, and it is now in place. Now, some of you may have noted, and Alan made reference to this, that in the 4 days since Sharon and I put pen to paper on this agreement, much of the world seems to have been transfixed on the subject of marriage, specifically the wedding on Saturday of Meghan and Harry. That is to say, Harry, the Duke of Sussex, the younger son of the Prince of Wales and the late Princess Diana, sixth in line to the British throne, and American actress Meghan Markle. I mention this not because I'm particularly interested in the romantic lives of these two nice young people. I mention this because, and I don't want to overplay the analogy, but because we refer to the VCF-TCF relationship not as a marriage, but as a partnership. But this new agreement is akin to renewing our vows. And we have indeed renewed our partnership vows. Our institutions have vowed to work together each day with one shared goal, which is to do what is right and good for the Valley. And we have vowed to honor and maintain the understandings about the Gates Fund that enabled us to get beyond our differences 25 years ago and to forge a new productive path. And we have vowed to work together to meet the Valley's current needs and take best advantage of the Valley's current opportunities, while at the same time we have vowed that our work will not only be about today, but also about the Valley's tomorrows too, about building a permanent, growing philanthropic resource that will be here forever. And we have vowed to work together using our complementary strengths, VCF's leadership credibility and deep knowledge of the Valley, and TCF's financial resources and expertise and experience in community philanthropy. These commitments that I just listed are at the core of our new agreement, just as they have been at the core of our previous affiliation agreement since 2004. Yet in certain important ways, our new agreement is even stronger than the agreements it replaces. Let me name 4 ways. We have added provisions to the agreement, including a detailed listing of the in-kind services that TCF provides to VCF that will strengthen our operating relationship on a day-to-day basis. We've added provisions to the agreement that are designed to keep our 2 institutions aligned at a strategic level and to give us ways of coming back together if our strategic paths were to begin to diverge. We've added provisions to the agreement that are designed to help the people of the Valley to better understand our partnership and the opportunities that it can create for this wonderful community's future. And with these enhancements, we've agreed to a 10-year term for our new agreement, in contrast to the 7-year terms of our previous agreements. For the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, our reason for extending our partnership with VCF for another 10 years could not be clearer. VCF is a success, a rousing success. 14 years ago, working with Valley community leaders, we undertook what was really an experiment. Like pouring from 2 test tubes into a beaker, we mixed together the powerful community spirit of the Valley with the financial resources that the Gates brothers had left for this community. We did so hoping that a powerful new force might emerge, and indeed it has. VCF today, with its 190-odd funds, more than $25 million in assets, and a very strong leadership role in the Valley community, is all that we dared to hope for 14 years ago. Congratulations and thank you to Sharon Closius, to Alan Tima, and the whole VCF board and staff for this rousing and ongoing success story. So our affiliation agreement is now the strongest that it's ever been. And I might add, just in time. For the reality for the Valley, as for the rest of our region and for our state, is that having strong local institutions to do the work of community, like the one you're building, has never been more important. At the same time that our federal government is pulling back for ideological reasons from so many of the policies and programs and commitments that have built and sustained our communities, so too is the state of Connecticut, for budgetary reasons, retrenching in ways that have already started to devastate our local nonprofit sector. For the last 7 years at TCF, our message has been community, now more than ever. Our way of exhorting our community to come together and to stand together against these larger challenges. Never has the Valley needed VCF more, and I'm delighted to say that in my view, VCF is well positioned to meet the challenges that lie ahead. Now, while there are so many to thank, when there are so many to thank, it may be unwise to name names, but here I go, just a few. While thanks go to the entire TCF staff, as I said before, I particularly want to call out our senior team, some of whom are here tonight. Christina Ciociola, who with her grants team, including Sarah Fabish and Denise Canning, both of whom are here, does so much for VCF grant making. Leon Bailey, a resident of Shelton, I would hasten to add, for his support and work with Sharon on human resource issues. Dottie Weston Murphy, who's here, for her support of VCF's development work. Drew Alden, the only chief financial officer VCF has ever had, or ever needed, I would add, who in addition provides the investment management expertise that year after year provides extraordinary returns for VCF's funds and other Valley philanthropic resources, including the Gates Fund. And finally, Angela Powers. And while you all know her her as VCF's first executive. Angela's involvement in Valley Philanthropy goes back to the Gates Fund discussions of more than 25 years ago. Today, she leads our work with VCF as Sharon's lead counterpart on operational issues day to day, as TCF's representative on the VCF board, as Alan said, and not to mention acting as our lead in the negotiations leading to this new agreement. So while Angela is actually away on vacation, we owe her a great debt of thanks. Thank you to Angela. There is one more special thank you I want to say tonight. The progress that we mark tonight, the strengthened relationship that we celebrate tonight, the history that we remember tonight, the future that we envision tonight, none of that would have happened without the extraordinary commitment and leadership of Jimmy Ryan. For more than 2 decades, Jimmy has put all of himself, his hard work and legendary attention to detail, his strong belief in his community, and his enormous personal credibility in the Valley at the service of building the Valley Community Foundation. By being who he is, Jimmy has created the productivity and the harmony that has nurtured the growth of this institution. It seems so right somehow that this new 10-year agreement is concluded in Jimmy's last year on both our board and the VCF board, and in the year of Jimmy's chairmanship of our board. He isn't here tonight, as Alan said, because his grandson, the young Mr. Finn Ryan Monroe, is celebrating his first birthday. But let us acknowledge all he has meant to this effort as if he were present to hear us. Thank you, Jimmy. So I want to conclude by offering the elder partner perspective about what all of this will mean for the future. TCF, the Community Foundation of Greater New Haven, is 90 this year. And while on paper VCF is only 14, we all know that the VCF story actually began more than 80 years ago with the establishment of trusts by Frank and Ross Gates. The point is that community philanthropy at its best is a very long-term and forward-looking exercise. In our work in New Haven, we ponder every day the foresight, the commitment, and the generosity of 3 generations of donors who cared so deeply about their community's future that they invested not only to make life better in their own time, but to make life better for all time. That is what VCF now represents for the Valley. That is what you all are doing here. And that is why I know that decades from now, your successors in this Valley, Finn Ryan Monroe and his contemporaries, will be grateful for the foresight and commitment and generosity of this generation of Valley leaders and Valley citizens who created and built the Valley Community Foundation. So to repeat myself, we are proud to be your partners now and for the next decade. I congratulate you on all that you are accomplishing, and thank you very much.